The deep space research vessel Aurora drifted silently through the vast emptiness of Sector 47. Stars sparkled like scattered diamonds against the endless black, and the hum of the ship's engines was the only sound that reminded the crew they were not truly alone. Captain Alara stood on the bridge, her hands gripping the railing as her eyes scanned the endless starfield. For months their mission had been routine: survey unexplored planets, collect samples, and map anomalies. But today, something unusual appeared on their sensors. "Captain," called Lieutenant Kieran from the communications console. "I'm picking up a signal. It's faint, almost like a distress call, but it's not like anything we've seen before." Alara's eyes narrowed. "A distress signal, you say? From where?" Kieran tapped the console rapidly. "Coordinates are outside any registered star systems. The signal repeats every 3 minutes. It's strange. It's not standard emergency code, but the pattern is consistent." The bridge fell silent. Signals in uncharted space often meant danger. Some were traps. Others were automated warnings left behind by civilizations long gone. But a distress call could also mean life, something worth saving. "Plot a course," Alara commanded. "We're investigating. We cannot ignore a plea for help no matter how risky." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Deep space was unpredictable. Unknown signals could lure them into ambushes or trigger dangerous phenomena. But Alara's voice carried authority. Hesitation was not an option. The ship's engines roared as they shifted toward the coordinates. Hours passed in tense silence. The stars outside seemed closer now, brighter against the black void. The ship's sensors detected gravitational anomalies near the signal source. Tiny fluctuations in space-time rippled around the coordinates, like invisible waves brushing against the hull. Lieutenant Mira, the ship's science officer, frowned at her console. "Captain, these anomalies are significant. They suggest some kind of massive object nearby. Could be a planet, but the readings are unusual. The surface seems scarred. Alara leaned closer. "How so?" Mira zoomed in on the visual feed. The screen displayed a distant planet, cratered and pitted with jagged mountains and deep fissures running across its surface. Dark clouds swirled above, and faint flashes of light hinted at energy discharges. "There's evidence of recent destruction," Mira explained. "Something violent happened here, and the signal originates from this planet." The crew murmured among themselves. "A planet in distress, strange anomalies, and a mysterious SOS signal. Danger and opportunity blended into a tension that was almost tangible." "Prepare the landing shuttle," Alara ordered. "We go down cautiously. Kieran, keep scanning for any additional signals or movement. Mira, I want a full analysis of the planet's surface. I want to know what we're walking into before we set foot there." As preparations began, the Aurora's hull creaked slightly, a normal sound in a ship of its size, but it added to the crew's growing anxiety. Every person on the bridge felt the weight of the unknown pressing against them. When the shuttle detached from the mothership and descended toward the planet, the crew stared out at the surface. Craters scarred the land like wounds, and in some places the terrain seemed almost alive, shifting slightly under unseen forces. Strange towers and structures, partially destroyed, rose from the ground, their shapes unlike anything human technology could create. The shuttle's sensors detected faint life signs clustered around one of the smaller outposts. "Captain," Kieran said, his voice tight, "there are beings down there. They're small, fragile, and moving very fast. I can't read their technology properly. It's unlike anything in the human database." Ilara's heart quickened. "Fragile? That could explain why they sent an SOS. They're in trouble. Keep your eyes open. We don't know what we're facing, but we are not here to fight. Yet. We're here to help." As they landed, the air inside the shuttle grew tense. The crew could feel the weight of the planet's strange atmosphere pressing against them. When the ramp lowered, the first thing they noticed was the eerie silence. No birds, no winds, no familiar sounds, only the faint hum of alien machines and distant flashes of energy. Stepping onto the planet's surface, the humans were careful with every step. The ground was uneven and pocked with craters. Shadows moved in the distance, large, dark shapes that the crew could not immediately identify. Then, as they approached the outpost, the alien inhabitants appeared. Small, delicate creatures with translucent skin and elongated limbs, they froze at the sight of the humans. Their eyes were wide with fear and their hands trembled. Ilara raised her hands in a gesture of peace. "We come in peace. We received your SOS. We are here to help. The aliens hesitated, whispering rapidly in their own language. Kieran activated the translator module and slowly, the words began to make sense. Help, please. Attackers, destroy. We cannot. The crew's hearts sank. The message was clear. These beings were under attack and they were defenseless. Suddenly, a distant rumble shook the ground. The crew turned to see massive shadows moving across the horizon. Machines or creatures approaching fast. The aliens shrieked in panic, scattering toward the few intact shelters. Alara's voice cut through the chaos. Defensive positions! Protect the civilians. Kieran, Mira with me. Despite their fear, the humans moved with precision. Unlike the aliens, they had been trained for crisis. They used their knowledge of terrain and technology to set up barriers, using alien materials and makeshift tools. Mira's understanding of alien energy patterns allowed them to create temporary shields that flickered with protective light. The attackers drew closer, shapes massive and menacing, their outlines sharp against the darkened sky. The humans could feel the pressure of the moment. The line between life and destruction was razor thin. Alara thought quickly. We need to stabilize the outpost. Kieran, create a distraction. Mira, prepare the energy shield. I'll lead a team to evacuate the aliens. The plan unfolded like clockwork. Kieran's diversion drew some of the attackers away, while Mira's shields bought precious seconds. Humans guided the terrified aliens toward safer areas, showing calm courage that the fragile beings could not have imagined. For a brief moment, the humans and aliens moved as one, united against a common threat. Fear lingered, but determination burned brighter. It was the first real test, and the humans were holding their ground, proving that courage and quick thinking could tip the scales even when everything seemed hopeless. Above them, the sky flickered with strange energy bursts, reflecting off the planet's jagged mountains. It was a dangerous world, unlike anything humans had encountered, and yet they pressed forward, unwilling to abandon those in need. Alara looked around at her crew. Their faces were tense, but their resolve was strong. She realized something important. In the vast, indifferent universe, humans' greatest strength was not their technology alone. It was their courage, their creativity, and their willingness to act when others hesitated. As the shuttle team secured the first group of aliens, a faint signal flickered on the communicator. Another ship or something else was approaching. The unknown had only just begun to reveal itself. Alara's eyes met Kieran's. Prepare for the unexpected, she said. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Humans do not run from danger. And with that, the Aurora's crew braced for the challenges ahead, unaware that their actions on this scarred, alien world would soon echo across the stars. The alien outpost trembled as shadows of enormous attackers stretched across the cratered landscape. The humans moved quickly, their boots crunching over jagged rock as they guided the small, fragile aliens toward temporary shelters. The aliens' translucent skin shimmered under the planet's strange sky, and their elongated limbs twitched with nervous energy. They had never seen beings like humans, tall, strong, and decisively calm amid chaos. Stay close to me, Captain Alara instructed, holding her hand out to the nearest group of aliens. We will keep you safe. Some aliens hesitated. Their wide, shining eyes reflected fear and mistrust. Humans had arrived uninvited, and they were unfamiliar. For a species already on the brink of panic, trust did not come easily. One of the aliens, a small creature with a pale green glow, stepped forward cautiously. It spoke in rapid clicks and chirps. Kieran activated the translator module, and the words translated slowly. Who are you?
Why, here.
Alara knelt slightly to appear less intimidating. We are humans. We received your SOS. We are here to help you. You are not alone. The alien blinked as if struggling to comprehend. Help. Humans. Dangerous. Attackers. Yes, Alara said firmly. We see them. We will protect you. The humans split into teams. Some moved to reinforce the outpost's defenses, improvising barriers from alien materials. Others guided the aliens to underground tunnels that Mira had scanned earlier, tunnels that could shelter them from the approaching enemy. But as the humans worked, distant explosions shook the ground. The attackers advanced, enormous and terrifying. Their forms were not completely visible, but glimpses revealed jagged armor-like skin and glowing red eyes. Machines or beasts, it was hard to tell. Their sheer size dwarfed the outpost structures, and each step sent tremors through the planet's cracked surface. Lieutenant Kieran crouched behind a rock, peering through his scanner. "Captain, they're faster than we expected. Our shields won't hold long if they focus their energy weapons on the barricades." Ilara's mind raced. Retreat was not an option. The aliens had nowhere else to run. She needed to buy time. "Mira, can you amplify the shield's range? Even temporarily?" Mira's fingers flew over the console. "I can, but it will drain all available power in minutes. If we fail, we leave ourselves vulnerable." "Do it," Ilara commanded. "We protect them first, ourselves second." Energy arcs sparked along the barriers, creating a shimmering wall of light. The aliens froze, mesmerized by the strange glow. Humans took defensive positions behind rocks and makeshift cover. Each crew member's face was set with determination, their nerves steady despite the danger. Then the first attackers appeared on the horizon in full view. They moved with terrifying precision, almost as if coordinated by a single mind. Some carried weapons, others seemed to rely on brute strength. The humans could see their size, easily twice the height of an adult human, their limbs thick and powerful. The aliens gasped. Many had never seen beings so large. Some began to shriek in panic, scattering toward the tunnels. Ilara signaled them to slow down. "Stay together!" she shouted. "Don't run alone!" As the attackers closed in, the humans launched their first countermeasures. Using the planet's uneven terrain, they set traps. Rocks rigged to explode with small energy bursts. Alien tech adapted to act as distractions. Kieran led a diversion, drawing some attackers away from the vulnerable aliens. Mira coordinated the shields, maintaining a protective barrier while energy discharges illuminated the battlefield. Despite the chaos, humans moved with precision and courage. Their adaptability, creativity, and calm under pressure allowed them to act where the aliens could not. One alien, trembling and alone, was caught in the crossfire of an energy beam. Without hesitation, Ilara sprinted forward, scooping the small creature into her arms and shielding it with her body until the attackers passed. The aliens stared in awe. Fear had initially clouded their judgment of humans, but now they saw something remarkable: bravery in the face of overwhelming odds. "Humans fight differently," one alien muttered through the translator, its voice trembling. We hide. You face them." Ilara nodded, panting slightly. "We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what humans do." The attackers were relentless, pushing forward with a combination of raw strength and advanced weapons. But the humans' unpredictability confused them. Unlike the aliens, humans did not rely solely on technology. They adapted, improvised, and exploited weaknesses. Rocks, energy pulses, and clever maneuvers created openings where none should have existed. Lieutenant Kieran's diversion proved effective. He led several attackers into a narrow canyon, where the terrain slowed them down. Small energy traps placed strategically by Mira disabled their advance temporarily. The aliens, seeing the humans' ingenuity, began to trust them more. Slowly, they moved closer, following the humans' lead instead of fleeing blindly. The battle raged for hours. Humans and aliens worked together, forming a fragile alliance born of necessity. One of the aliens, an elder with deep violet markings, approached Ilara. Its voice was shaky but filled with wonder. "You are not like us. You do not fear death. You fight for us." Ilara smiled briefly, though exhaustion weighed heavily on her. "Courage is not the absence of fear," she said gently. "It is action despite fear. You survived by sending that SOS, and now we act together. That is what matters." The attackers retreated momentarily, regrouping across the battlefield. They seemed confused by the humans' unexpected tactics. The aliens, witnessing this, whispered among themselves, their fear slowly transforming into hope. But Ilara knew this was only temporary. "They will come back," she said. "Stronger, faster. We need a plan to hold them until reinforcements arrive, or until we can find another way to end this threat." Mira's eyes lit up with an idea. "Captain, we can use the planet's natural energy fields. If we channel them through the outpost systems, we might create a temporary overload, enough to stop their advance for a while." Ilara considered it. "It's risky, but it could work. Kieran, coordinate with Mira. I'll lead the aliens to safety while you prepare the energy surge." The humans moved with precise coordination. While Mira and Kieran focused on the technical challenge, Ilara directed the aliens through underground tunnels, guiding them with calm authority. The attackers noticed the movement but could not respond quickly enough. Humans and aliens together navigated the labyrinthine paths, their trust in each other growing with every step. Finally, the humans set the stage for the energy overload. Mira's hands danced over the alien console, adapting circuits that no human had ever used before. Sparks flew and the air hummed with rising power. "Almost ready," she called. "Just a few more seconds?" The attackers drew closer, sensing the human strategy. Their glowing eyes narrowed, their massive limbs moving with intent. But before they could strike, Mira triggered the overload. A surge of energy shot across the battlefield, illuminating the planet's surface in blinding light. Machines froze. Beams of energy crackled uncontrollably and the attackers staggered back in confusion. The humans used the moment. Ilara led the aliens further into safety, guiding them to secure shelters far from the battlefield. The small creatures no longer trembled with fear. Instead, they followed without hesitation, inspired by humans' bravery and decisiveness. When the light faded, the attackers were still formidable, but their momentum had been broken. The humans had proven themselves capable, and the aliens' trust in them had solidified. Ilara looked at her crew, pride and determination shining in her eyes. "This is just the beginning," she said. "We will face more dangers. But today we showed that humans, our courage, our creativity, and our willingness to act, can turn fear into hope. Remember that." The aliens gathered around, speaking in their melodic clicks and hums, now tinged with gratitude. Though exhausted, the humans had made an impression that would last far longer than this battle. The SOS signal had been answered, and the seeds of a bond between species had been planted. Above, the dark sky flickered with energy, signaling that this world's dangers were far from over. But for the first time, humans and aliens alike felt something remarkable: hope. The Aurora's crew knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new threats, and perhaps new allies. Yet they were ready. For humans, courage was not optional. It was who they were. And in the vast, cold reaches of space, that courage could shine brighter than any star. The planet's night was filled with tension. The humans had managed to stabilize the situation temporarily, but the attackers' presence loomed like a shadow over the scarred landscape. Captain Ilara stood atop a rocky outcrop, surveying the battlefield from a safe distance. Below, the small aliens huddled together in underground shelters, their delicate forms trembling but less fearful now. Mira joined her, holding a portable scanner. "Captain, the attackers are regrouping. They've adapted slightly to our energy disruption. They'll strike again soon." Ilara nodded. "We expected that. They are strong, but we are smarter. Humans survive because we can think, adapt, and act quickly. That is our edge." Mira's eyes widened slightly. "You really think the aliens will survive if we didn't intervene?" "They might not," Ilara said frankly. "But with us they have a chance. And sometimes a chance is all it takes to survive." Back in the outpost, Lieutenant Kieran and the rest of the crew were already preparing for the next wave. Using a combination of human ingenuity and alien technology, they had created improvised defenses, energy barriers, traps using local minerals, and noise decoys to confuse the attackers. While alien technology was advanced, it lacked flexibility. Humans, by contrast, could repurpose, improvise, and innovate under pressure. Kieran activated a display showing movement patterns of the attackers. They are predictable in their aggression, but they underestimate strategy. If we manipulate the terrain, we can control their advance. Ilara approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Exactly. Humans excel where brute strength is met with cleverness. We'll make them think we are weaker than we are, then strike where they least expect it." The plan was set: divide the attackers, create confusion, and use the planet's natural hazards to their advantage. Humans led the aliens through hidden paths, showing them shortcuts and safe zones. Every alien followed carefully, learning quickly from human guidance. The crew noticed that even the smallest aliens began mimicking human actions, ducking, hiding, and using simple tactics to stay safe. Hours passed. The humans' trap slowed the attackers' advance. Rocks exploded in carefully timed sequences, creating narrow paths the attackers could not cross easily. Energy pulses from the modified outpost systems forced some to retreat momentarily, giving the humans and aliens crucial breathing space. In a moment of quiet, Ilara knelt next to one of the alien children. Its eyes, larger than her own, stared at her curiously. "Do you humans always fight this way?" it asked through the translator. Ilara smiled faintly. "Not always. But when lives are at stake, we do what we must. Courage isn't about fighting alone, it's about protecting those who cannot fight for themselves." The child blinked, absorbing the meaning. For the first time, its trembling slowed. It began to imitate Ilara's posture, crouching behind a rock with cautious determination. Meanwhile, the attackers advanced again, larger numbers than before. Their glowing red eyes reflected rage and intelligence, but humans were ready. Ilara directed teams with precise instructions. "Use the cliffs to funnel them." "Kieran, activate the decoys." "Mira, charge the energy fields." "Everyone else, hold positions until I signal." The humans' tactics were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. They combined speed, brute force, and creativity, using improvised weapons and terrain advantages. When one attack path was blocked, humans quickly created another, moving with relentless determination. Kieran shouted from the side, "Captain, they are learning. They are avoiding the traps now." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Good, that means they respect us. Respect is important, but we can use their caution against them. Let's force them where we want them." The humans executed a complex maneuver. They lured the attackers toward a canyon filled with jagged rocks and unstable terrain. Using precise timing, they triggered controlled energy pulses, sending massive attackers tumbling into deep fissures. Some attackers struggled to climb out, buying humans and aliens precious time to retreat to safer zones. The small aliens watched in awe. Whispers ran through their ranks. Humans. Clever, fearless, strong. Fear had been replaced by fascination. They had assumed the humans were merely another species, but they now realized humans were extraordinary. As the night stretched on, exhaustion weighed on both humans and aliens. Yet their spirits remained unbroken. Humans thrived under pressure. Fatigue did not diminish creativity. Ilara moved among her crew, encouraging them, checking on alien survivors and reinforcing morale. One of the elder aliens approached her, trembling but resolute. "You humans, different, you strong in mind, not just body, you fight for others." Ilara nodded solemnly. "Yes, that is our strength. We fight not just to survive, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what makes humans human." Mira smiled, watching as the aliens began to cooperate in ways they never would have on their own. "Captain, they are learning from us," she said. "Even the smallest ones are beginning to follow instructions. They trust us." Ilara's eyes scanned the horizon. "Trust is earned, not given. We've earned it tonight. But the fight is not over. We must be ready for anything." Hours later, as dawn broke across the cratered surface, the humans took a moment to rest. They huddled in small groups with the aliens, sharing rations and checking equipment. Despite the exhaustion, the humans remained vigilant. Their training, courage, and adaptability were evident in every movement. Suddenly, a distant rumble shook the ground. The humans and aliens froze. The attackers were regrouping, larger numbers than before, but the humans were ready. Every crew member understood the stakes. This was not just a battle for survival, it was a lesson, a demonstration of human ingenuity and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. Ilara rose, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Prepare for the next wave," she said calmly. "We have something they do not expect. We have creativity, courage, and the will to act when others hesitate. That is humanity's edge, and it will keep us alive." As the attackers drew near, humans moved with confidence. They coordinated perfectly, combining speed, tactics, and courage. The aliens followed, learning from the humans' example, and for the first time they fought alongside someone stronger, wiser, and braver than themselves. The battle intensified. Energy pulses lit up the canyon as humans and aliens fought together. The attackers roared and lashed out, but humans anticipated their moves, countering with clever traps and tactical precision. Every human action seemed unpredictable, every decision smart and adaptive. By midday, the attackers were forced to retreat temporarily, leaving the humans and aliens standing victorious, though weary. The outpost remained damaged, but the survivors were alive, and the humans had proven themselves more than just visitors. They were heroes in the eyes of the fragile alien species. Ilara gathered her crew. Look at what we've done, she said, pointing to the recovering aliens. They feared us at first, but now they see who humans really are. Not just fighters, not just explorers, but protectors. We make a difference. That is our legacy. The aliens whispered among themselves, reverence in their clicks and hums. They had witnessed humans turn fear into strategy, panic into action. And they understood that humans were extraordinary, not because of size or weapons, but because of courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the cratered terrain, Alara looked to the sky. The dark void beyond the horizon seemed less threatening now. Humans had faced impossible odds and prevailed, inspiring awe in an entire alien species. But she knew the universe was vast, full of dangers far greater than this battle. Mira approached, scanning the horizon. Captain, there's something else coming. Energy readings, massive, approaching fast. Alara's eyes narrowed. Then we prepare. Humanity's edge is not just courage, it's readiness. We will face what comes and we will prevail, as we always do. The aliens gathered close, watching the humans with admiration. They had learned a powerful lesson. In the universe, strength alone is not enough. It is creativity, courage, and determination that can turn the tide against any threat. And humans, in their small but remarkable ways, embodied all of these traits. For the humans of the Aurora, this was more than survival. It was a statement. Even in a galaxy of unknown dangers, humans adapt, humans fight, and humans inspire hope wherever they go. As night fell again, the planet's surface quieted, at least for now. But everyone knew that the next challenge was near. Humans and aliens alike understood that their fight was far from over. Yet if they continued to act together with courage and cleverness, they had a chance. Alara stood tall, looking at her crew and the recovering aliens. Rest now, she said softly. Tomorrow we face whatever comes next, together. Humans do not give up. We adapt, we survive, and we fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. The crew nodded. Exhaustion weighed heavily, but their spirits remained unbroken. The night was still full of unknown dangers, but they were ready. Humanity's edge was not just their strength or weapons, it was their mind, their courage and their determination to protect others, no matter the cost, and in the dark expanse of the galaxy, that edge would shine brighter than any threat. The scarred planet had quieted, but the humans knew the reprieve would not last. The attackers, though temporarily driven back, were regrouping beyond the horizon. The small aliens, once trembling with fear, had begun to rely on the humans' guidance, yet even their combined efforts might not withstand another full assault. Captain Alara stood atop a ridge, scanning the distant sky with binoculars. Mira and Kieran were beside her, monitoring energy readings and scanner data. Suddenly, Mira froze. Captain, you need to see this. Massive energy signatures approaching from deep space. They're enormous. Alara squinted at the horizon. A faint shimmer appeared first, a line of distant lights slowly moving through the darkness. Then one by one, enormous shapes materialized, starships larger than any the humans had ever seen. Their hulls were jagged and armored, engines glowing with immense power. Even at this distance, their presence was overwhelming. They're too fast, too coordinated, Kieran muttered, awe and fear mingling in his voice. Mira shook her head. No known species travels like this. They're built for survival on the most extreme worlds. The sensors confirm it. They are Deathworlders. The name hung in the air like thunder. The Deathworlders were legendary across the galaxy, planet-bred warriors shaped by conditions that would kill ordinary species. They were enormous, strong, and fiercely intelligent. Their fleet had never been fully catalogued because few survived encounters to report. Even powerful civilizations gave them wide berth. Ilara's mind raced. Why are they here? Are they allies? Or another threat? Before anyone could answer, a deep hum reverberated through the planet, the vibrations traveling through rock and soil. The small aliens shrank back in terror, their fear palpable. The humans moved between the aliens and the approaching fleet, standing as protectors. The attackers, sensing something unusual, paused in their advance. Their red eyes scanned the horizon, their massive forms tense. The humans noticed that even these monstrous attackers seemed hesitant in the presence of the new fleet. They know them, Kieran whispered. The attackers. They fear the Deathworlders. Alara's jaw tightened. Good, that gives us a chance. But we cannot rely on luck alone. She turned to her crew. Prepare for their landing. Keep the aliens safe, but stay ready. We do not know if the Deathworlders will attack or aid us. The fleet's massive ships descended toward the planet with controlled precision. Energy fields shimmered around their hulls and shadows stretched across the surface. The humans watched in awe as the first of the Deathworlder warriors disembarked. They were enormous, towering above the humans and aliens alike, muscles corded beneath tough, scarred skin. Their armor glinted under the planet's strange sunlight, and their eyes, sharp and calculating, swept over the battlefield. The attackers hissed and roared, but the Deathworlders did not speak. They moved with terrifying speed, taking down the attackers with precision strikes. Some wielded massive energy weapons, others relied on brute strength. A single Deathworlder could topple attackers twice its size with ease. Alara felt both fear and fascination. Humans were courageous, but these were beings shaped by the harshest environments in the galaxy, creatures that thrived where most species would perish. And yet they did not attack the humans. Instead, they focused solely on the attackers. Mira whispered, her voice tinged with awe. They recognize us. Not as threats, but survivors, fighters. Alara nodded slowly. Yes, humans survived what most species would not. That is why they do not see us as prey. They respect strength and resilience, and that includes us. The humans continued their efforts alongside the Deathworlders, guiding the aliens to safe zones while observing the fleet's devastating efficiency. The attackers were overwhelmed. Machines were dismantled, and monstrous forms were thrown aside with terrifying precision. Within minutes, the tide of battle had turned completely. Even the aliens watched in disbelief. They had feared for their lives, unsure of the human strength. Now they witnessed humans standing confidently among the galaxy's deadliest warriors, unafraid, calm, and decisive. Their perception of humans shifted irrevocably. One elder alien whispered through the translator, humans, not weak, they stand with strongest, like us? Alara knelt, looking the alien in the eyes. Yes, humans are not the strongest in size or weapon alone, but we adapt, we fight for others, and we never give up. That is why even the fiercest recognize us. The Deathworlders finished their sweeping assault, leaving the battlefield cleared of attackers. Some of them paused, scanning the humans. One approached cautiously, towering over Alara. Its eyes studied her, intelligent and sharp. Then, without a word, it nodded once and stepped back as if acknowledging humans' courage and competence. The small aliens gasped. Their eyes glowed with wonder and respect. The humans had not only survived, they had earned recognition from beings that were the ultimate survivors of the galaxy. Kieran exhaled slowly. Captain, they respect us. We've never seen anything like this. Alara allowed herself a small smile. That is what humans do. We face impossible odds and act anyway. We adapt, we protect, we endure. Even the Deathworlders see it. Mira scanned the battlefield. Captain, the attackers are gone. At least for now. The outpost is safe and the aliens are unharmed, but we should not assume the fight is over. This planet has dangers beyond comprehension. Alara nodded. True, but today humans showed what we are capable of. Not just strength, but ingenuity, courage, and determination. That is our edge, and it has saved lives today. As the Deathworlders prepared to depart, the humans observed with quiet reverence. The massive fleet slowly ascended into space, leaving behind a stunned but grateful population. The attackers, driven off completely, were no longer an immediate threat. The aliens approached the humans cautiously. This time there was no fear, only gratitude and admiration. You human, strange. Brave, strong, protectors, one said. We owe much. Alara shook her head gently. We did what we had to do. You asked for help and we answered. Courage and compassion are not species-specific, but I hope you understand something. Humans will always fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. The aliens murmured among themselves, awe evident in every sound. They had witnessed humans face overwhelming odds, survive where survival seemed impossible, and stand undaunted even in the presence of beings far stronger than themselves. Kieran looked at Alara, voice quiet. Captain, do you think the Deathworlders see us differently now? I mean, really see humans? Alara's eyes were steady, her expression calm. Yes, they recognize what we are. Humans survive, adapt, and protect. We are more than our size, our weapons, or our technology. We are a force that can endure. And that is something even the strongest species respect. For the first time, the humans allowed themselves to relax slightly. The immediate danger had passed, and the small aliens were beginning to recover. Yet all knew that the universe remained vast and unpredictable. Alara turned to her crew. "We've survived this battle. We've shown that courage, ingenuity, and determination matter. But tomorrow, who knows what we will face? The galaxy is full of dangers, and humans will need to continue proving themselves. That is who we are," Mira smiled faintly. "Captain, I think the aliens understand. And perhaps so do we." The small aliens gathered, some mimicking human gestures of respect and unity. Their fear had transformed into admiration, and their admiration had deepened into trust. Humans were no longer merely visitors, they were heroes, symbols of courage and hope. As night fell across the cratered planet, Alara looked to the stars. The Deathworlders' fleet disappeared into the dark expanse, leaving the humans with a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced impossible odds, witnessed the galaxy's most fearsome species, and survived not just physically but with honor and integrity. Alara knew this was only the beginning. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new dangers, and perhaps new allies or enemies. Yet humanity's edge, courage, adaptability, and the willingness to act in the face of fear would continue to define them across the stars. And on this scarred, distant world, humans had proven a powerful truth. Even in a galaxy of terrifying wonders and threats, humanity's spirit could inspire awe, command respect, and stand unbroken. The small aliens whispered once more among themselves. One elder finally said through the translator, "Humans, unlike any, strongest in heart, strongest in mind, true champions." Alara allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. "We will always be that," she said softly. "As long as we keep fighting, adapting, and protecting those who cannot protect themselves, humans will shine, even in the darkest corners of the galaxy." The planet settled into silence, at least for now, but the humans knew that the next challenge was always coming, and when it did, they would face it, not alone but with courage, determination, and the unwavering human edge. The sun rose slowly over the cratered planet, casting long shadows across the jagged landscape. The aftermath of the battle left the outpost scarred but alive. The small aliens, once trembling with fear, were now moving through the tunnels and shelters with a cautious sense of confidence. The humans of the Aurora were among them, providing guidance, reassurance, and leadership. Captain Alara stood on a rocky ridge, surveying the scene. The battlefield was quiet now, save for the distant hum of the remaining machinery and the faint whisper of alien voices. Mira and Kieran joined her, both exhausted but alert. "We've held them off," Mira said softly, scanning the horizon. "The attackers won't return immediately, and the Deathworlders, they've left a lasting impression." Alara nodded. "Yes, but this isn't just about today. It's about tomorrow. Humanity's presence here has changed something. The aliens now understand what we are capable of, and perhaps the universe itself has noticed." The small aliens began emerging from their shelters, their eyes wide with admiration. They approached cautiously but without fear. The elder with violet markings stepped forward, speaking through the translator. "You, humans, you came when we were helpless. You fought. You protected. You survived. Unlike any we have known." Alara knelt to meet the elder's gaze. "We did what we had to do. Courage isn't about winning every battle. It's about standing up when it matters most. Humans act because we believe in protecting life, no matter how small, fragile, or different it may be." The elder nodded slowly, a deep respect in their eyes. "You, humans, different. Strongest not in body, strongest in heart, in mind. We owe much." Nearby, other aliens whispered among themselves, repeating the words. Humans had become symbols of hope, courage, and ingenuity. They were no longer strangers or invaders, they were heroes. Kieran smiled faintly, looking at Alara. "Captain, we did more than survive. We changed how they see humans. They will tell stories, perhaps across the galaxy, about what humans can do when others falter." Alara allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. "Yes, and that is the point. Humans leave a mark not just through technology or weapons, but through courage, determination, and the will to act. That is our legacy." Mira scanned the surrounding area. "The outpost can be rebuilt. The aliens can restore their systems with our guidance. And the attackers, they won't risk returning anytime soon. We've proven strength where they expected weakness. The small aliens began assisting the humans in repairing damaged equipment and structures. Though they had never been trained for such work under human guidance, they learned quickly. Humans demonstrated patience and clarity, explaining processes step by step. Even the most delicate aliens handled tools and devices with care, learning not just skills but the values humans demonstrated: precision, thoughtfulness, and cooperation. Alara observed quietly. Humanity had survived countless challenges, and now their traits, adaptability, empathy, and courage, were being noticed not just by allies, but by those who would share their stories with others. These qualities were contagious, inspiring even the smallest and weakest to act with confidence. Suddenly, a shimmer appeared in the sky. The human crew turned to see a small fleet approaching, ships unlike the attackers or even the Deathworlders. These ships bore the markings of a neutral, curious species, drawn to the SOS signal and the recent energy bursts from the battle. The humans, experienced in first contact, moved quickly to establish communication. "This is Captain Alara of the Aurora," she spoke into the universal translator. "We come in peace. We assisted the local population and neutralized the threat." The new arrivals paused, scanning the planet. Then their voice responded. "We have heard of your actions, impressive. We seek knowledge." "And allies. You humans are remarkable." Alara exchanged a glance with her crew. The recognition of human ingenuity and courage was spreading. Every species they interacted with now knew that humans were not ordinary. They were survivors, innovators, and protectors. As the day progressed, the humans helped the aliens rebuild communication arrays, energy systems, and shelters. Each success was celebrated, not only as a practical victory, but as a demonstration of what humans could achieve through determination and collaboration. The aliens began to mimic human coordination, working together in ways they had never imagined. By evening, the aliens approached Captain Alara once more. "Humans, your presence changed us. You gave courage, strength, guidance. You heroes. We will tell the stars of your deeds." Alara looked over the recovering outpost, her heart swelling with pride. "That is all any of us can do," she said softly. "Act with courage, protect those who cannot protect themselves, and leave the world better than we found it. Humans do this naturally because it is who we are." The aliens began organizing a ceremony of gratitude. They presented simple gifts, symbolic tokens of trust and respect. The humans accepted them graciously, knowing that these small gestures would be remembered far longer than any technology or weapon. Stories would travel across star systems, carrying the legend of humans' courage and compassion. Night fell, and the stars shone brilliantly above the cratered planet. For the first time in days, the humans allowed themselves a moment of rest. Yet their vigilance never fully wavered. Space was unpredictable, and challenges were never truly over. Alara looked at her crew, pride shining in her eyes. "Remember this moment. Humans survived impossible odds, guided and protected another species, and earned respect from allies and even the fiercest warriors in the galaxy. That is our legacy." Kira nodded. "Captain, I think the aliens finally understand. And maybe the universe does too." Mira smiled. "They will tell their neighbors, and those neighbors will tell others. Humans will be remembered here, not just for fighting, but for inspiring hope and courage." Alara stood silently, her eyes scanning the stars. The Deathworlders' fleet had come and gone, leaving humans recognized as equals in resilience and determination. The attackers had been driven off, the aliens were safe, and humanity's reputation had spread. "Humans do not rely on fear or power alone," she said quietly. "We rely on courage, teamwork, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. That is why we endure. That is why we survive. And that is why we will continue to inspire hope wherever we go." The aliens approached once more, forming a circle around the humans. Even the smallest and most delicate ones looked up with admiration. One of the young aliens spoke simply through the translator. "Humans, brave, true protectors, always fight for others." Alara placed a hand on her heart. "Yes, that is what we do. That is who we are." The crew of the Aurora gathered together, tired but triumphant. They had faced unimaginable odds, survived, and left a lasting impression on an entire alien species. In doing so, they had shown that humanity's greatest strength was not in weapons or numbers, but in heart, mind, and courage. As the night deepened, the stars reflected the legacy humans had begun to forge across the galaxy. This was not just a victory for the outpost or for a single species. It was a statement humans would rise, adapt, and inspire. They were survivors, innovators, and protectors. Their courage could turn fear into hope, uncertainty into action, and weakness into strength. Captain Alara looked to the horizon, the cratered landscape now quiet and peaceful. She knew the universe held countless challenges ahead, dangers far greater than those faced on this small SOS planet. Yet she also knew that humanity's edge, courage, ingenuity, and the will to act for others would endure, wherever they went. For the small aliens, humans were more than visitors. They were champions, guardians, and legends. For the humans themselves, it was a reminder. No matter how vast the galaxy, no matter how strong the enemies, the human spirit would always shine, and so, as the stars glimmered above the cratered world, the humans prepared to depart. Their mission was complete, their impact lasting. They had faced fear, overcome danger, and proven that humanity's greatest power lay not just in strength, but in heart, mind, and courage. The SOS signal had been answered, lives had been saved, and legends had been born. Humanity had earned a place in the galaxy, not just as survivors, but as a species worthy of respect, admiration, and hope. And in the vast reaches of space, that truth would travel farther than any signal, inspiring countless others to believe in the power of humans. Alara took one last look at the recovering outpost, her voice quiet but firm. Humans will always act, we will always protect, we will always survive, and we will always inspire. The aurora rose into the stars, leaving behind a world forever changed, a species forever grateful, and a legend of human courage and ingenuity that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come.